Well, welcome back. So, should have done this a while ago when the news came out, but I wanted to make sure the emotions were in the right spot beforehand. So, a few weeks ago, Marshall County, Kansas is pushing to get storm chasing regulated across the state. That's not going to happen. I mean, I'll do everything I can legally to make sure it doesn't. But we'll get into it. So, reason one, it's going to be hard to regulate, if even possible. First Amendment, freedom of press. 9 times out of 10, someone has a camera when they're out storm chasing. That falls under First Amendment protections. So, there's that. Secondly, it's not a big thing with these states in Tornado Alley. Like, a lot of them, their main focus isn't really tourism, with the exception of Texas, because Texas things, and Missouri, mostly because of places like Uranus Fudge Factory, stuff around Springfield. You got the Branson area. So Missouri got a little bit of tourism going for that. Plus, you got Kansas City with FIFA, St. Louis probably with FIFA, and also sports-related stuff. But that's that. And then South Dakota has Mount Rushmore. And that's really about it for tourism spots in Tornado Alley. At least stuff I can recall off the top of my head. Now, beyond that, the main tourism industry in Tornado Alley revolves around the tornadoes. Okay? It revolves around the tornadoes. Revolves around the severe weather. Now, before anyone says, what about, Wizard of Oz, or Wakita museums, or museum in Wakita, Oklahoma? Yeah. That revolves around severe weather. Wizard of Oz starts off with a tornado. Okay? So, heck, there's the museum up in Franklin, Kansas, has a whole section on the tornado that nearly wiped out the community and actually caused it to lose its incorporated status. So it's now an unincorporated community tied with Arma because of what the tornado did to it. So, yeah, they have a whole section for that. So, the severe weather is part of our lives here. It's part of the tourism industry. What tourism industry this area has is largely tied to severe weather. Now, it's not the biggest industry, like agriculture, mining, oil is a big part of the industries in the Tornado Alley states. But still, it's an industry that shouldn't be harmed. To get people to eventually want to move here, you got to have a tourism industry so people have a reason to visit here in the first place. Simple. So, till we get more amusement parks that don't get ripped out of the ground by tornadoes, that's when that would be less of a problem in that regard. Now, yeah, storm chasing has, now on the other side, yeah, storm chasing has become a thing with major traffic problems and people being idiots. Now, some stuff I would be for is making it where you have to have at least 2 people that are 2 people in the vehicle at all times when it comes to storm chasing to reduce the vehicles out there. So no one-man crews unless it's properly licensed as such, or you gotta have press pass. I could easily get that with access, and it's not hard to get a press pass. There is a little bit of money involved, but it's not hard to get one. So But, and that would probably negate a lot of the regulations that would come about, actually. At least to my knowledge. But, thing is, require full coverage insurance to be able to storm chase. I could see that happening. And honestly, would not be a bad idea. Sure, it's a paywall, but you already have to have insurance to drive anyways. So it's nothing really different. You just gotta make sure it's full coverage and not just liability, or the minimum required in your area to be able to drive legally. So, yeah, full coverage. There you go. All people involved have to be above 18. Yeah, because endangering children by taking them out storm chasing is not a good... No, that's not good. No, we ain't doing that. So, yeah. Require everyone to be above 18 to be able to chase. That's actually... Yeah, that's not a bad idea. So, basically, yeah. Multi-people crews, not multi-car crews. Full coverage, insurance. Everyone involved had to be above 18. That would probably... And I could see similar regulations as what CDL drivers have, like you could only be on the road for a certain amount of time consecutively without rest. Now, majority of these storm chasing vehicles aren't like CDL restricted vehicles. But, so, wouldn't it be as strict by, say, maybe 12 hours continuously on the road without taking breaks? Like rest, adequate sleep, and whatnot would actually suffice. Because I'm pretty sure that a lot of the majority of the dumb decisions that some chasers make is derived from sleep deprivation. So require them to make sure they have enough sleep would definitely solve that. Now, the logic of people being like... And that actually goes back to having multiple people in the vehicle with you. Everyone has a license. You could rotate shifts on who's driving to continuously be on the road beyond that. So that would actually not be a bad idea. So that's that, like... So that actually having multi-people crews would actually be... Yeah, would be a... Yeah, that would be interesting. But yeah, multi-people crews, not multi-car crews, that would alleviate on the traffic issues. The stupidity side of it, require them to make sure they have enough sleep. That would theoretically help, because having proper sleep, you tend to do stuff smarter. You tend to not be stupid. And again, like the full coverage insurance, that's more or less to protect them. Actually, that would more or less protect the chasers in question. Also, in case they get to wrecks, because, yeah, storm chasing, the most dangerous part about storm chasing isn't the storms, it's the other drivers. That's the main reason I say, like, requires chasers to have full coverage insurance. That's the main thing there. So, and that's also why I say everyone should be above 18. There should be an age limit. You have to be over the age of 18 to be able to chase. I mean, you already have to be over the age of 16 to be able to drive in the first place. And between 16 and 18, you're restricted on how far you could drive and certain hours and stuff like that. You got, like, driving curfews, basically. So there's already limitations between 16 and 18 when it comes to driving. So, yeah, that's basically my gist on that. But, yeah, that's really about it. So stay safe out there. See y'all in the next video. Bye.